Hello, guys. Welcome to the Rope Break podcast with me, Kev, and Dan, my co-star. How's it going, Dan?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Obviously, this is going to be what's been going on and what's been grinding our gears and whatever else. Before we go anywhere else, there is one thing I want to say, and that is, have you been watching WWE Speed on X?
I haven't caught an awful lot of it, to be honest.
Right, okay. So I watch it every Wednesday. I like the concept. So they're 3-minute matches.
Yeah.
So I sort of like the concept. They're obviously filmed before SmackDown and Raw, like a dark show.
Yeah.
Now, the only problem I have with that is last week, Ricochet was crowned Speed Champion. He was given the title as well as a WWE title for it as well. But then on Monday, he came out with no title. It didn't say that he was on his little bar that comes up. It didn't say Ricochet Speed Champion. I just thought it was a bit bizarre. You know, you have this contest. If you want more people to watch it, then
advertise it.
Yeah, wouldn't you necessarily advertise it? And I get that it's on X or Twitter. But also as well, why can't they do that concept on their main show? Why can't they continue it on their main show?
Do you know why? I think they can't. Obviously, they weren't all 3-minute matches, but
no.
But when they did, remember when there was years ago when Raw was absolutely dog shit awful. When they had all the Cruiserweight 205 Live stuff on there. I actually quite enjoyed a lot of it, but I know a lot of people absolutely hated it.
Yeah,
hated it on Raw. And it was like, keep it on 205 Live, keep it on that show, it's fine. But like, it got to the point where they were main eventing like Monday Night Raw and stuff, and people didn't like it. And I think they kind of learned the lesson from that, because a lot of those cruiserweight matches, because they were so fast paced and stuff.
Yeah.
They weren't that long matches. So I think even though they were set at like a 3-minute time limit, I think they've kind of had a bit of a taster there with all the cruiserweight stuff a few years ago, and it didn't go down particularly well. So, to be fair, my only issue with it being recorded on dark matches after SmackDown or whenever a lot of them are, is a lot of what's happened before you actually see it, because people who were there at SmackDown, then they go on Facebook and Twitter and go, oh, but by the way, he beats him, she beats her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's but yeah, I just the main thing that got me was you crowned Ricochet as the Speed Champion.
Yeah,
and he comes out on Raw with no title, not even on his banner. There's nothing to say that he's WWE Speed Champion. It's like, you know what I mean? I thought it was a bit bizarre.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, especially if you want to get more eyes on it. So.
Yeah, and if you follow Ricochet's Twitter, I don't think he's particularly happy with losing another big match. Obviously, he lost to Ilya Dragunov, but he tweeted something like, "I lost again. I'm sorry." And then about an hour later, he tweeted again saying, "I am so fucking done with this shit."
Right.
So, you can't blame him if he is starting to get frustrated, because he's so good. He deserves a lot more than what he gets.
I think the King of the Ring tournament was a little bit, I don't know, it's like harsh, if you know what I mean. I didn't see, you had Sheamus versus Gunther, and I didn't see Gunther losing, and it was like, this is going to be like, a good match. It's the sort of match you would put on at a pay-per-view, not on the main event of Monday Night Raw, maybe. But yeah, and I didn't see Dragunov losing his first match.
No, well, technically his second match on Raw.
Yeah,
he came out Raw after Mania, but it's his first match since being called up to Raw.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, it's almost a shame that that Gunther and Ilya are in the same side of the draw, because
Yeah.
if they like that'd be an amazing final. I do think it's definitely leading towards a Gunther Ilya semi-final. I
Yes.
think
100%.
I know that I'll be pulling the trigger kind of soon, but I mean, both 2020 and 2022 they got match of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And they fought each other outside WWE as well. And they're both, when they both put it on, they both, put on a match.
yeah.
It's not silly. So, but yeah, I can see that doing that. There was enough. Obviously, they released all the brackets of SmackDown as well, because obviously we're not know them. I can see the semi-final being LA Knight versus Randy Orton, and LA Knight going through. I can see it being Gunther versus LA Knight for the final.
Yeah.
Because like you, I was a bit bizarre because I was a bit sort of like they're in the same bracket. Why didn't they mix the two sort of together? So there was a mixture of Raw and SmackDown. And then, like, the semi-finals was a Raw versus SmackDown superstar.
Yeah.
On maybe both sides. But yeah, you've got it's almost like Raw versus SmackDown. That's how they've done it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know. I think it's going to be great. I mean, to be fair, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I just wonder why they pulled Drew from the match, because apparently his injury isn't any different to the injury that he's already had and wrestled with numerous times. So why pull him this time?
Yeah, well, one of the women were also pulled, Asuka.
Yeah, but to be fair, she's been struggling with her knee for months.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was a bit bizarre. It was only on the Saturday they released all the brackets, and then by the Monday they were like, "Oh, Drew's injured, so is Asuka."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh."
There does seem to be this is really bizarre. I bet WWE have had more injuries in the last 12 months than they ever have in the space of just a 12-month period. Now, what's really interesting about that is the last 12-month period is probably the easiest it's been to be a WWE wrestler, because Triple H has really relaxed everything and slowed everything down, and it's not as intense as it was under Vince. It's interesting that they have got more time off. They have got more time at home. They have got more time to rest and recover, which is something that they've all spoken about. I mean, it was only 2 days ago Randy Orton was talking about it in an interview, that since Vince has left and Triple H has taken over, like, that gives me, the opportunity now to actually get the right amount of rest for my body so that I can keep going, as long as I want to. All the top stars have spoken about how much more off time they have to actually rest, the bodies and get fit again. But then there's been more injuries than ever. It doesn't really make any sense. So,
but I suppose that happens in like a lot of sports as well. Not just wrestling, but there's football as well, where sometimes there seems to be more injuries than anything, or they come off of injury and then get injured straight again, and that happens in wrestling as well. But you're right, there is a lot of wrestlers. I don't know whether it's not because they're really bad, like you said as well. Drew's wrestled through the injury he's got now before, so maybe Triple H is more cautious about sort of saying, well, if you're injured, take time off. Don't work through it.
I just think,
lay off the camp, sort of thing.
Don't forget, a lot of them have been long-term injuries. Like that they've been working through. Like, Seth's had a fractured back for like 3 years. His knee had been done for like 12 months, and yet he carried on wrestling for another year, to the point where it was like, you can't walk, mate. Like, I'm
wondering whether Triple H is like, before Vince was like, "I'll just work through it." I wonder if Triple H is more a little bit laid back, as we know he is, and he's gone, "It's up to you." Whether you wrestle through it or not.
It just seems to be a lot. It just seems, it's like Rhea's shoulder injury apparently had happened before her Mania match, which was why she weren't really wrestling. I think she had the match in Australia at Elimination Chamber, and she had her WrestleMania match, and they were the only 2 matches she wrestled in like 4 months, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
which if you look at like the first 6 months of the title reign, she was wrestling every week, you know.
Yeah.
So you know that makes sense. Obviously, just sets out with a long-term injury. Drew has been working through it, and now he's not. Asuka's apparently has had that knee injury for almost a year, and she's just been working through it. And now it's got to the point where she can't basically go anymore on it. And then you've obviously got like the sudden ones, like the CM Punk one.
Yeah, it's also worth noting as well that EOS. We said this last time. That was the first time I think EOS Sky's come out in the last couple of weeks, because Damage Control was coming out without her since she lost the title.
Yeah,
and I think this was the first time we saw her with Damage Control, but obviously Asuka wasn't there. So that was a bit bizarre. Also, as well, I found a bit bizarre was they announced all the matches, and then they went, Kofi and Rey Mysterio will be at a live event.
Yeah.
And I think it's Shayna Baszler as well, and Baszler and I can't remember.
I mean, look, it's great for people that are going to be there.
Nina Vega. Yeah.
You know, it's great for the people that are going to be there at the live events. That, you know, there's a big King of the Ring match happening. You know, so I do get why they've done it, but it is a little bit odd. As well, I've seen as well. Like, I know you're more of a fan of him than I am, but when it comes to Mr. Logan Paul, I read that he's only defended his title twice.
Yes, he has been on SmackDown. I've got to say, he has been there. Yeah, and he has wrestled, but he's not wrestled for the title.
Like, how long's he had that belt now? It's got to be 6-7 months.
It was before Mania.
It was way before Mania. It's got to be at least 6 or 7 months he's had that belt, and he's defended it twice. Like, come on, mate, you're taking the piss.
I'm wondering whether they're. I mean, I don't. Obviously, something might happen on SmackDown, because obviously before it was Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Now they've got mixed up in the bloodline stuff. So they're sort of moving away with that. So I'm wondering who's going to step up for the US title.
Yeah, and speaking of the bloodline stuff, we've got a new debut. The one that we weren't expecting.
No,
I don't think anyone was expecting it. It was. I mean, I was like, isn't he still signed with NJPW? Like, I read a thing about his what was the name of his tag team in Japan with him and Tama? I can't remember the name of their tag team anyway in Japan. Someone who I follow on Twitter, who watches a lot of Japan. Me and you've obviously never watched an awful lot of NJPW, but he watches it religiously and has done for like the last 15, 20 years. And he was saying that it's a shame that they've only got Tama, because his brother Tonga.
Yeah.
Like he was just saying that their tag team is like unbelievable. And to be fair, I have YouTube, and some of the stuff they were doing was amazing. But like, this was only like 3 weeks ago, and he was like, "I'm pretty sure that Tonga Loa was under contract with NJPW for a while now." Well, obviously not. I mean, to be fair, before Backlash, everyone was saying Jacob Flair was going to debut. Everyone was saying it, and he didn't. It was someone else. And to be honest, now I'm kind of thinking now. I know I sent you the thing that apparently some people are saying that apparently they're holding off on Jacob Fatu's debut because they're scared that because he's so good, he's going to
overshadow Sikoa. Yeah.
Going to outshine Solo, whereas they want Solo to be the leader of it. I'm 50-50 on that, because with them getting Tonga Loa, which no one expected, I'm wondering if Jacob is going to side with Jay and Jimmy.
It'd be interesting. Because I thought that, like, now obviously they're there. You got the two brothers, and the way that they looked at Jay when they were up backstage, I can definitely see there being the Usos versus the Lows.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he's injured though, and we don't know.
No, yes, right, yeah, he is injured, but maybe it's SummerSlam. Maybe that could do something big at SummerSlam if he comes back and he's not out of injury and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just no, like you say, no one was expecting it. It was a bit of a shock.
That shocked everyone. Like even people like Sean Mossap and stuff. Like he didn't. No one knew. No one
No,
declared.
no. That's
It's
the surprises that you love
it's
and that we all love as well. And like no one knew about it, and he just pops up. I did think, going back to Backlash actually, and that match with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, I did think it was bizarre. I mean, we were watching it live, and I said to my wife, I said, why isn't this a Falls Count Anywhere? Like, why isn't this a hardcore match or a Falls Count Anywhere match? Because that's the sort of style that they go for, you know, with the chairs and everything else. And I was like, why isn't it? And then obviously it started brawling everywhere before the ring and then obviously they came out and they announced actually it is do what you want match sort of thing. And I was like, why didn't they just announce that at the start? Why?
But I'll tell you why. Because of the monumental pop that crowd did when they announced that it was going to be a no DQ, you know, Falls Count Anywhere match. You know, that's why it's a surprise for the fans. That's a surprise for the fans watching on TV, but it's mainly for the fans there at the arena because they're not expecting that.
I do think it's weird when you watch anything Europe-wise, and they're singing, they're going nuts, they're going absolutely crazy, and Americans watch it and they just don't get it. We were talking about this, me and Kirsty, and we're like, this because they just don't. They don't chant like we do at football games. Like if you watch NFL or anything like that, they don't do the singing, they don't do the chanting, they just can't do it. Yet here in Europe, that's what we live for. I mean,
it's the biggest. It's the biggest thing about going and supporting your football team.
Yeah, and so when it happens at wrestling, you can tell all the Americans like, what is this? And then on Twitter, all the Americans were tweeting, they should just have all the pay-per-views except the big ones in Europe. That was the biggest pop and I was thinking, they've obviously never seen a football match or gone to like, you know, Old Trafford or you know, the Emirates or anywhere like that, because that is what it's like every week. It's that loud. It can be really loud. And the singing as well. And they go, what are they singing? And you can hear what they're singing. We can, because we're, you know, it's all football and that, but the football fans, especially in France, are like especially all over Europe. Actually, they're just as good as the UK ones. And not only that, it shows up how bad the US audience are.
Yeah, it's boring. I wouldn't say bad; they're just boring.
Yeah. You know, someone actually. There was a lot of tweets this week saying, "Even we're going to go back to the boring what chants now for the US," and I was like,
"Yeah." I mean, even Randy was saying, you know, he was like, "I've had this entrance music for like over a decade, and I've never heard anyone do that. No one's ever sung my entrance music like that."
In the US.
You know, he'd never experienced it before. And I will say, not just the singing, that French crowd. I mean, that in my opinion is the best crowd I've ever heard for a wrestling event ever. It was, and look, you know, I have got to say, the King of the Ring tournament finals are going to be held in Saudi Arabia. That's just a money making thing, because the atmosphere at the Saudi events
is dead.
Whether football, whether it be boxing, like Saudi seem to be getting everything. Like there's so much money involved. Like they're getting all.
Have you seen the latest?
And it's just like all the big.
Have you seen the latest? They've apparently going to renew their contract. WWE. Yeah, they're going to renew it this time round, and apparently, in the contract they're signing, they're going to be bringing either the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania to sell. That's what they want, and I was like,
but the atmosphere is shocking. Like,
it's awful.
And all you can see around the ring, I'm not being funny, is people that are obviously very, very wealthy, because they're all there, all wearing the same.
All on their couches.
The white like long outfits with the red and white like turbans on, or heads, whatever it is you call them. I'm not of that religion. Don't know what you call them, but they're all wearing the same clothes. They're all sat on the front row, and they're all silent.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, there is some chanting going on in the crowds further behind, but it is a very quiet event. They just don't like saying it's not
It's
like
not
Europe.
just
They do the
wrestling,
proper
though.
chanting.
It's not just wrestling though. Like I said, I am yet to watch a single boxing event that's been held over there where it's been good.
Yeah,
The atmosphere has been
quiet, dead.
It has been quite quiet. The only loud and raucous bits are the travelling fucking pissed up Brits half the time. They're the only ones that are making any noise. And
You
mate,
wait, like you wait. They've gone. You wait. You've gone to France. Wait until you go to Scotland, right? And you've got 20,000 Scottish pissed up fans chanting and singing.
Yeah.
Mate, it's going to be mental.
Yeah, well, me and Bex really tried to get tickets for it.
We did as well.
We just couldn't. Mate,
Yeah.
they went on sale at like 10 a.m. and she was on her computer waiting from like 9:30. Half an hour just waiting, and
yeah, we were in the queue. Then we saw the prices, and we were like,
well, she was in the queue, and it had all sold out apart from the tickets that were £1,000 each. They were the only ones that were left.
Yeah.
It's like
ridiculous, but
obviously, Triple H has said congratulations to Mr. Sadiq Khan, who stayed in as mayor of London. I don't know how. Obviously, you live in London, and everyone I know fucking hates the man. Everyone I know that lives in London hates him. Like I don't live in London, so I don't know. But I know.
Well, most people did. Obviously, he's not hated as much as I think everyone thinks he is.
No, because
the other candidates were shit as well. I think so.
He stayed in again, but Triple H was like, Sadiq Khan, we need to talk, and he's basically said, if London front up the money for it, we would love to take a WrestleMania there. The problem is, now this will resonate with you more than me because you're from London. London will not pay to have someone come to their city. London is one of the biggest cities on the planet. They do not need to pay anyone to bring that level.
I don't know. I think they might. I think they might. If to get it, I think they might.
I honestly don't think that they'll be willing to spend tens of millions of pounds to allow WWE to put the event on at Wembley. I hope I'm wrong.
I think it depends on revenue, how much London will get back out of it.
Look, but mate, London is that busy anyway. There's that many people from around the world that go there regardless. Like, it's always fucking rammed because it's one of them. It's one of the biggest tourist destinations in the world.
Yeah,
like London is one of probably 4 or 5 cities in the world that doesn't need to advertise anything or put anything special on to bring tourist attractions. It's London. Everyone goes there anyway. And the only way for me that this happens is if WWE ask for less money. If WWE ask London to pay less money, then I think it'll happen. But I think from WWE's side is, well, they could go anywhere in the world and they'll be getting they'll be being paid a shit ton of money to put WrestleMania on in whatever city it's in. Yeah. Whereas London will be like, well, we're not going to pay for something that we don't need because London's going to be rammed and full of tourists anyway. Because yes, okay, there'll be if WrestleMania's on there for those, you're probably going to have a week where there's going to be people from all over the world coming in specifically there for WrestleMania. But it's not like they're going to be having a poor weekend that weekend anyway, because for as many people who will be coming over for WrestleMania, you'll have probably more than that coming over that weekend to see Buckingham Palace. You know what I
mean? Yeah. I think it'd be more for the international fans than us because we see London every day.
Well, you do. I've only been once, and I live in the fucking country, and I've only been once. But mate,
I get where you.
I've said.
I get where you're coming from. That's for sure. But I think when you had Cena come out and mention it, and then Triple H mentioned it as well, and Sadiq Khan also said
Orton's mentioned it. Seth Rollins has mentioned
Yeah,
it.
and Sadiq Khan also said, if I win the mayor election, I want to bring more sporting events to London, including WrestleMania. I think we're getting closer. I think, you know, I honestly believe within 5 years it will be here. We'll have it here. We'll have it here.
If it's going to happen, it won't be next year or the year after, because
No.
well, next year's at Vegas, and I'm pretty confident. I've seen it this morning.
Fort Field.
It's got next year's Mania is going to be in Vegas. The year after, I believe, it's not been announced yet, and I don't think they're in discussion with anyone yet. But I believe it's probably going to be Detroit, because
It is the Detroit Fort Field, because that's where they held WrestleMania like 20 years ago and WrestleMania 3. So it's sort of like 40th and 20th anniversary of WrestleMania being there. Yeah. So it makes sense for it to go back there. But yeah, like you said, they normally plan like the WrestleManias like 2 or 3 years in advance.
Yeah.
So I can see it within 5 years, it'll be in London, I reckon.
How much are the tickets going to be, though?
Yeah. You know? Well, everyone was saying like, how can we get a bigger venue? Because you've got Wembley and the O2, and I was like, well, go to Twickenham, because the Twickenham Stadium, which is the rugby stadium there, I think that holds like 90,000 without the when the rugby's on. But take the rugby away, that's easily 100,000, probably even more.
Yeah,
and you could field that, and it's an open stadium as well, so it's not got a roof or anything, which they seem to like doing for sort of WrestleManias.
Yeah.
But it's just outside London. It's not central London. It's in Twickenham.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, you know, venue wise, if you want to really up it and you want to get more money, so I'm wondering as well, because now they do WrestleMania on 2 nights. Would it be beneficial for them to start going, okay, well, night 1 is going to be here and night 2 is going to be sort of somewhere else? So they could have night 1 in the US, night 2 in the UK.
Yeah, but how would you do that if you want people to be involved in both night 1 and 2? Like, how are you going to fly?
The only problem. I think that's the only problem. We've had that the last WrestleMania we had that, but did we have that in the WrestleMania before?
I can't remember. What, over 2 nights?
Yeah, we had that over 2 nights, but was there a match that carried over from night 1 to night 2?
No, but it's not even necessarily just the wrestlers. People like Triple H will want to be at both.
Yeah. Okay. You know, so quite logistically, it's probably a little.
He's like,
and I would imagine time as well. So if you have one in the US, the timing would.
I don't think you could do that. I think you could, you know, you could, you know, 2 in Europe, you know, 1 in France, 1 in London.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be as big of a problem, because it's only a couple of hour flight, isn't it? From.
Well, not even that. It's a train. You can get a train into Paris. So, you know what I mean? Even into Lyon. So, it's like a train or a plane. You know what I mean? It's like ferry. You can drive it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just wondering, because it's on night. Like, you get 2 nights. Could they do night 1 somewhere else and then night 2 somewhere?
They could do. I just think it would be. I don't think it would ever happen, and I don't think it'd ever happen because they make such a big deal of WrestleMania week. You know, that whole week. You know, everyone's in that city that it's at, and you know all the press that they do. All that city. Like WWE just take over whatever city that they're in.
Yeah, so literally. You
know, the SmackDown's there, the Raw's there as well. They just take over that city for a whole week and then fuck off. But I think so. Yeah, I don't think that they do that, but who knows? You know, anything's possible. I think lastly, before we go, I think we need to. They're doing the same thing that they did when Bray returned with their Bo Dallas, and it's the same thing. But it's interesting how like I think a lot of people are excited about it, but it's interesting, like when they were doing all these QR codes and everything that they were doing for Bray, everyone was so excited. Like even me, like I'd be pausing it and like until like, I could.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
it
yeah,
flashed.
Holly does that.
It'd flash on that fast that you'd have to like keep rewinding fast
Pause
forward to
it
get
and
like scan the QR code and I wouldn't miss a single one because I had to see what was next. With
yeah,
this one, I've just gone, oh, there's another QR code, and that's it. I've not
yeah,
scanned it on my phone. I've
yeah.
not, you know.
No, my daughter has. She's scanned it. She's followed. There's little when it takes you to the pages. There's little clues. There was one with coordinates, and you stuck the coordinates in, and it went somewhere in the world where there's a big rabbit, like a giant rabbit. There was another one where it gave you letters, and then you had to work out the code with the
Yeah,
letters. There was all this code stuff to it. It's interesting. I'm just wondering. I just don't want it to get to the point where there's not a big payoff, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Where we get
I
to it and we're
just
like, oh yes, and then it sort of just goes flat. I know it's Bray Wyatt. I know it's like it's of other people and everything else. I understand that, but I just don't want it fizzling out, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I can't see it as I think that they're dragging it out too long now, and it's like right, okay, you need to do something
I'm
now.
wondering whether
But,
they're just wondering when to pull the trigger.
yeah,
Because other stuff I think keep popping up, and they're like, so how long do we keep this going? It's interesting the names that have come up actually for it. Braun Strowman was named, and he's already on there. So I'm wondering why they brought him in already
yeah.
if he's
No,
going to be part of the group.
everything that I've read within the last like 2 weeks has been Braun isn't going to be in it, which you know is too big.
One of the clues was about a black sheep, and he was the black sheep of the group.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, if he isn't in it, he might not have wanted to be a part of it. He might feel like it's too.
Yeah,
He might think that's a bit too difficult for me. You know, and it's personal. You know, obviously, I know
yeah.
Bo Dallas is Bray's real life brother, so people are going to go, well, if Bo can do it, Braun should do it.
And
But
you've also got Eric Rowan as well. He's
everyone's back. He's definitely going to be. There's obviously rumours of one being Dexter Loomis. I'd like
yeah,
that.
and Nikki Cross as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Nikki Cross. Hopefully, Alexa Bliss, that'd be awesome. But for me, I do have to mention Joe Gacy because
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people shitting all over that. Oh, why is he in that? I'm like,
have you not? You know what I mean? Have you not seen NXT? Have you not seen his character?
Like everything that he's done in NXT is basically Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
It's so Bray Wyatt. And to be honest, he's out of the ones. Fucking Loomis never speaks. He said fucking 2 words in the last 5 years, which is I and do.
yeah,
Bo's decent in the ring, but in my opinion, he's not very good on the mic. And I think if Bo's the face of it and the voice for it, I think it will fail because he's not got the charisma or the skills.
Joe Gacy would be the best call for the voice.
Yeah, Joe Gacy is very good on the mic and he's very good at his promos, and he's already used to doing promos in a very creepy, eerie, Bray Wyatt kind of way. So I think he should be the voice of it. He should be the one doing a lot of the promos. Like Bo can still be the leader, but Joe Gacy could do a lot of the talking.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we've already had. It's really good as well. Like you're saying, we've had Dexter Loomis who does that creepy sort of music, his entrance music, and the way he creeps into the ring. We've had Nikki Cross who's just been sort of just standing like this.
In a trance, yeah,
in sort of a trance. So maybe they've been sort of gearing up more of this. It's interesting as well because obviously a lot of people were wondering why Joe Gacy wasn't called up, but then there were a lot of people saying that he was at the SmackDown. He was seen at SmackDown tapings and stuff.
They're probably just keeping it in a surprise for them debuting him with the Wyatt.
It'd be interesting to see if they come out as themselves or whether they change the name or they come in costumes, masks, all that sort of stuff.
Whether one's fucking Huskus the pig and one's fucking, you know.
Well, not just that, because you got to remember, obviously, Braun Strowman used to come out with the black sheep mask and he used to take it off. So I'm wondering whether they're going to do little masks like that where they take them on and off, except Bo Dallas with Uncle Howdy.
Yeah, but to be fair, like I said, and that's why Bo can be the leader because Uncle Howdy's never spoke anyway.
No.
Uncle Howdy doesn't speak. So you can have Uncle Howdy as the leader, but I would definitely have out of the names that have been mentioned, it would definitely be Joe Gacy should be cutting the promos. I think he's best suited for it. And I mentioned it when Bray was still alive, that when the whole Wyatt Six thing, and now more and more people are mentioning him. If for whatever reason they need to change something, and look, we're all guessing. No one knows exactly who the members are going to be.
No.
One that I threw in there like 2 years ago was Karrion Kross. I think he'd do well in it. I think I can see Cross doing really well in the Wyatt Six thing. So
yeah, I mean, it. Like you're saying, I don't know where it's going, how they're going to do it.
I don't think he will now. Now he's with the LP and
Pride.
Yeah, Final Testament, isn't it?
The Final Testament. Sorry, yeah. Also, it's worth noting that I think they appeared on the NXT not a while ago, actually.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is he going to go back there? Are they doing something with them now? I don't know. I know AOP were there, going after the tag. So
I know that Wesley is now back and fit, and if he keeps fit, I don't think it'll be long until he's called up as well, because what he's outrageous,
really good,
so good. Yeah. But Wesley, it's a shame that his tag team partner got sacked for all the like anti-Semitic stuff and whatever.
Yeah, a photo years ago where he was dressed up someone like whatever. But yeah, it was,
some of the moves that they used to do was like you've never seen anything like.
The tag team was brilliant. I mean, they were good when they were in TNA as well, actually, in Impact Wrestling. They were really good there as well. Back then,
bring Wesley up and stick him in a tag team with Ricochet. I think them two have been incredible together. Yeah,
they could definitely do stuff. But we're gonna leave it there for today. Nice short one.
Yeah.
We'll come back next week. We'll do a longer one, and we'll see what's happening, because now they're locked in. We're only going to be sort of a week away as well next week from King of the Ring.
Yeah.
So we should know like who's going to be in the semi-finals. It'll be interesting to see if the semi-finals are done on Raw or on the night, because obviously, if you remember King of the Ring, they always had the semi-finals and the finals on the same night.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting if they do that. But enjoy today. Thought it was great.
It was. I know it was a shorter one, but we're in England and the sun very rarely shines in the sunshine, so
we need to get out quick.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, I'm Kev.
I've been Dan. See you next time, guys.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Take it easy.